Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Hello there, my cozy babes, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be looking at your hidden path or your secret path to success. Basically, if you have been trying to have success in your life right now, and maybe you've had a little, maybe you've had none. In this video, we're going to get to the bottom of anything that's kind of been hidden, or maybe even some things that you can do to progress your path right now. So pile number 1, you have this copper sphere. Pile number 2, you have this beautiful piece of amethyst. And pile number 3, you have this piece of sunstone. So I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit of some vibey music, and you can sit with this to choose pile 1, 2, or 3, and then we'll get into it starting from pile number 1. Before we get into your reading today, pile number 1, I just want to talk to you a little bit about today's sponsor, Tarot Stack. Tarot Stack is an online website where you can actually purchase tarot decks that are made by independent artists. So Tarot Stack is basically like the middle person. They are the supplier that gets the decks of these amazing artists and creators into your hands. And I love working with them. Y'all already know, if you've been a longtime viewer or subscriber on this channel, that we work with Tarot Stack every single chance that we get. And it's because their decks are a cut above the rest. Like this one right here, and every deck that we use today is going to be featured from them. Like the cardstock quality alone of these decks, the way that the art is done as well, like never a bad deck. Every single deck that I've ever had from them, gotten from there, ordered from there, they have all been fantastic. And before our channel was ever sponsored by them, I ordered from them. They were somebody that I already worked with just in general, or not worked with, but they were somebody that I already purchased independently from. So y'all already know that I'm always going to give you the best places. So I absolutely love their decks. I use tons of them, even on videos that aren't sponsored. You have seen them across my channel because the decks are amazing. And I also love it because it just feels better supporting an independent artist versus supporting like a huge conglomerate or a huge corporation. And it's kind of just putting your money where your mouth is a little bit. So definitely check them out. Link is going to be down below if you would like to get any of the decks today and a myriad of others. And let's go ahead and get into your reading. So pile number 1, your secret path to success. First of all, we are going to give the deck a nice shuffle. And I really feel like I want to we're also going to bring out this Celestial Bodies deck. I really want to see what it is that you're currently dealing with right now. Okay, so I can see with the number 5 here that signifies your reading that you definitely have been through some hardship, okay? Like this, getting a 5 in your reading, I would definitely say that, you know, 5 is a number that it's more of a difficult number. I mean, even in tarot, The number 5, if you look at any 5 in a tarot deck, like, gosh, it almost makes me want to pull some out to see how they're depicted in this deck, just so I can kind of show to you what I'm talking about. But even if you look at any of the 5s in tarot, this deck might be a little gentler than others. Okay, there's one. There's another one. And I'll put these back in the deck in a moment. But even 5s in the tarot are like, they're hardship. They're difficult times. They're things that need to be kind of worked through. And they're kind of just like the hard moment. And like I said, I'll at least show you these two. There's 4 5s in the tarot, but the 2 that I immediately pulled out just to give you an example. I feel like this 5 of stones is not really the best example in this one. It looks a lot more calm, but let's take a look at the 5 of wands here. Look at these bears. They're having a standoff. They're fighting. And 5s really are that. They are these like moments of tension in life. There's also this movie, if y'all have ever seen it, called Where the Heart Is, where she like hates the number 5 because it's always brought unlucky things into her life. And I feel like that's like such a numerology 5 or like a tarot 5 kind of deal. Now 5, obviously that doesn't mean that you can't have it as like your angel number. Maybe you love 555 as a combination, but the number 5 in general tends to depict unlucky or being held back or feeling stuck in some way, especially when it comes to esoteric topics. So when I pull the 5 here, I can sense that you've been held back. Okay. You feel like maybe you have reached a point of contention. Things have not felt easy in your path to success right now, but let's see. Literally the 5 of thunder. Are you kidding? So this is basically the 5 of swords. I'm just going to pull a few cards out first and then I'll talk to you about them. We have death. Okay, so we're resisting something for sure. 9 of stones. And flower of thunder. Okay, so where you are right now with the 5, the flower, the 9 of stones, death, the 5 of thunder. The 5 of thunder, this depicts feeling like a victim in your life. And I will not sugarcoat things. I am not the person making candy at the candy factory. My father does candy vending for a living. I'm not my father. Okay. I don't sugarcoat shit. I'm not Willy Wonka, and you came here to be read and I'm going to read it for you. So the 5 of thunder, this is victimhood. It's being stuck in victim mentality. It's constantly telling yourself all the reasons you can't succeed versus all of the reasons that you can. It's maybe you didn't succeed in the past and you're really married to that idea now. And this isn't to say that this is your fault. I think that's something that when we talk about people having a victim complex or being stuck in victimhood, there is this immediate contention that kind of envelops people where you feel like we're victim blaming. And that's not it. It's not that it's your fault. It's not that you put yourself here. However, without taking responsibility, even if people mishandled you, without taking up responsibility and saying, okay, this crappy thing happened to me, but how am I going to choose to react to it? That's how you become a survivor. That's how you get out of victim mentality is, okay, this thing happened, but what am I going to choose to do with this information now and not just sit with it? I mean, sometimes sitting with it also is the healthy thing that needs to be done. So I don't even want to say that because sometimes we do need to sit with it. But you don't need to pack up and live there is my point. Like sitting there for a while, resting there for a while, getting help on this, even if it's necessary. But don't pack up and live in a victim complex because that's going to hold you back. Now, I can also see that we have the death card. This doesn't mean actual physical death. It is a transformation. And I can tell, given that you have the 5 of thunder and the 5 card here, I can tell that there is a resistance to change. And just like this hermit crab, you have to know when the shell doesn't fit anymore. And you have to go and find a bigger shell to grow into. This is normal. It happens to everyone. This is not something that can be avoided. Eventually, you will be forced out of the shell or the shell will break. This is when we get our tower moments in life when we don't listen. And when I see the death card sitting here for you, this tells me that you have been avoiding some form of transformation. And we'll get to the bottom of it in this reading, so don't you worry. We have the 9 of Stones, which tells me that you've had some success. And so I think that because you've had a little success, you've kind of pigeonholed yourself and been like, but it was successful one time, so that means it always has to be like this. And the reality of the situation is, if you were meant to do the same thing every day for the rest of your life, don't you think you would have already found happiness and fulfillment and you wouldn't be looking at a tarot card reading like this? It's because it fulfilled you at one time, but it doesn't anymore. And then we have the Flower of Thunder, which is basically like the Queen of Swords in this deck, which tells me that you've also been... Maybe I feel like I'm getting kind of a dual answer here, where some of you that chose this pile, you have boundaries and this is great, but it's like you have too many. You're not letting people in. You don't really have boundaries. You have walls. And there is a difference between boundaries and walls. Some of you, however, it's quite the opposite. You haven't made enough boundaries. You haven't made enough room for yourself. And you constantly put yourself on the back burner. It's, oh, I have to make sure the entire house is clean before I can do the things I want to do. I have to make sure that everybody else is taken care of before I can do what I want to do. I can't do the business idea because somebody else has already done it. I can't, like, again, we're getting into that victim mentality, but it's like, it's self-imposed victimhood. Or, you know, it could even be that I can't make friends because I've seen how ugly people can be, or I can't make friends because I've had people leave me before. I've had people hurt me before. And so you don't create your own boundaries and your own safety in order to get the results that you're looking for. Instead of just saying that will not work for me and walking away, you need to look at the thing that you actually want and basically ask, how can I heal to a point where I can allow this thing to come into my life? Do you understand? I hope this is making sense. Okay, now we're going to clean this up and we're going to see what the path to success looks like. What do you really need? I know we've kind of counseled a little bit, but I think we need to, there's more counsel that Spirit wants to give than that. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to give these another shuffle. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. We're dropping cards here. Spirit, can you give us a little bit of counsel? Give us some counsel. Okay, we're also going to shuffle this card back into this deck, and we're going to basically now see what is the path to success. What can we do? Knowing what we know now, kind of the mistakes that we're currently making. You got a 2. With the mistakes that we're currently making, Spirit of the highest love and compassion, what does the path to success look like? What can we do? Give us some practical help. Okay, so twos I feel like are about sometimes collaboration. It's like 1 + 1, right, equals 2. A 2 can also speculate shadow work, but it's also about meeting yourself in the middle. So like, see how this 2 also shows us a Venn diagram and there's the center here. Interestingly enough, I think the way that the center is colored, it's reminding me of like female anatomy, shall we say? It's reminding me of like the divine feminine, female anatomy. It's giving Fibonacci, even though it's 2, or it's 1 + 1 equals. How does Fibonacci work? It's like, I know that the original Ankh is meant to like represent Fibonacci as well, because it's like, anyways, I don't know why esoteric knowledge is just spilling out of my mouth right now. Sometimes Spirit, I feel like your guides in this reading, it feels very quick. Like maybe you're just like, Kloee, just shut up and get to the point. I feel like rushed right now. Maybe, I don't know if you're rushing me, babe, but like I'm feeling rushed. Ultimately, though, choose, this could be another collaborator, or finding where things that you want overlap. So like maybe, okay, for an example, you don't feel like you could go and give a public speech on stage, but if this was something you wanted to do, okay, but could you get on Instagram Live and talk to people online that way? Or could you write the speech? Could you write a speech and like, you know, make a YouTube video where you're building Legos and you're overlaying the audio track of the speech? Because maybe that is a way that you can overlap the things that you really want. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to find, that's just one example, but you have to find where what you're trying to get to overlaps with what you already have and who you already are, because that's going to kind of pull you into the next phase. So let's go ahead and see. We have the 10 of Cups. So you definitely need to call in support for this. I'm definitely getting support as a big message for you, pile number 1. We have the 4 of Thunder. Okay, I'm going to pull the cards first and then I'll tell you what they're about. 7 of Thunder. And then we also have the, I love it when the Emperor comes out in readings that people get with me, because I feel like you're attracted to the readers that you're attracted to for a reason. Like your energy kind of vibrates together a little bit. Like if you like a certain tarot card reader, there's a reason you like that reader on YouTube. And even if this is your first time ever coming to my channel, you're vibrating on something with me. Otherwise you wouldn't have been even able to perceive this video. It wouldn't have even shown up for you on YouTube. So I love when I see an Emperor though, because my energy really vibrates with that. So let me tell you what we have here. We can pull more cards too. We don't have to, you know, we'll see what Spirit says. But ultimately, let's talk about the 10 of Cups first. 10 of Cups. This is a card of support, familial support possibly, or maybe you're wanting to like build your dream life with your family, but you have to stop playing small and not telling people in your life about what you're trying to do. Because there is like, this is one of those things that I wish I could pay somebody. Like this is something, what Spirit is showing me right now is something that I would have paid somebody in my early career to teach me this. And it's that your success is going to come from people. Now hear me out. That might sound crazy. I'm not talking about being like, you know, a capitalist where you extract things from others and like, you know, increase labor and no. It's not what I mean. You don't need to step on people to get to the top. It's that you don't realize how much people are involved with your success. And it's because sometimes people remember you when they see that you have a skill that would help somebody else that they know that you're not even aware of. They're having a conversation with a friend and all of a sudden, you know, they're like, oh, you need a public speaker. You need somebody who writes essays. You need an editor. This is just an example. I know that person. I know somebody that does this. They even have a YouTube channel where you can see their work. Here it is. Your success is going to be, yes, by word of mouth, but people having conversations on your behalf that you know nothing about. This doesn't mean you need to go blab all of your ideas to people that don't support you. But if there is anyone in your immediate circle that you can think of that might be supportive, you are being asked to lean on support. You're not supposed to do this all by yourself. And I can see that because we also have the 4 of Thunder here, which is the 4 of Swords, which is about taking mental rest. Okay. You need to rest your mind. You cannot be doing everything all the time. You cannot be everyone's everything. It's, you know, I think hustle culture is something that we're really starting to do away with more and more as a culture, which is great. But I feel like we're learning that we actually have to take our time with ourselves more. And Spirit is saying you can't do it all by yourself. And therefore you need to learn how to take more breaks. You need to learn how to rest for yourself a little more. And that is like, not that if it helps you to reframe it this way, please use this, but it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea because I also see the danger in it. But rest is productive too, because it allows you to keep going and doing things later. Rest is productive too. Seven of Thunder, this is all about, I feel like you're afraid to share your ideas because people have either taken ideas from you in the past, they have not given you credit where you feel like it's due. I need you to understand that these are games of the ego only. Nobody can take what is rightfully yours. Even if you created something and somebody stole your images, if you went out and presented it, nobody could present it the way you would present it. Nobody can do it the way you would do it because nobody is you. Don't let that be the thing that stops you of being afraid that people like, again, I see that there's a really big fear of other people in your reading specifically. You're afraid to ask for support. You're afraid to tell people what you're doing. It's like you're already rejection sensitive before you've even been rejected. And I really feel that this is the thing you're meant to work through. This is why things haven't happened for you yet. This is what has been blocking your path, is you need to work through this thing specifically. And I would really encourage you, pile number one, if this is resonating and you're like, but who can I talk to? Where can I get help? I put out, and eventually I'm going to make this into a workbook that you can just buy, but I actually put out, and I'm not just trying to sell you on something extra. I make these things because they help people, and I know what to do to help people in these kinds of situations. I have a masterclass that I put out at the end of 2023 on my Patreon, and it's a vision board masterclass, but at the end of the masterclass, and I think I even made a workbook that went with it that you can download through that. And honestly, you'd be smart to get it from there because it will probably be cheaper getting it from my Patreon than when I eventually make it into like a product on my website. I will charge more for it. That's always the case when it comes to something I've like used from Patreon. But in this workbook, there are like 10 questions or so that you can actually work yourself through to figure out how to work through this. If you feel like you like a self-led, like basically a self-led, like healing modality just handed to you, it will help you to work through any blocks that you feel around this. So I would encourage you to look at that. And if not, if you have the means, hire a coach, hire a therapist, hire somebody that can help you to work through this block. And if you're already doing it, you're already on the right track. And then the Emperor showing up, I'm just going to be honest with you, bestie. If you are not already self-employed, you're not supposed to work for someone else. And it could also be that like you're meant to be a boss of a corporation or something. That could be it if that's what you're after. You are not meant to be someone that doesn't call your own shots. If you feel free in the job that you have now, then like, that's great. I'm so happy for you. This is not the message for you. But those of you that feel stuck, you don't like authority, you don't like people over you. The Emperor is that notion of being your own boss and calling your own shots. And you need to figure out what, taking the advice that's been given here, the practical, tangible advice, into how you can become this person for yourself. Because this is just confirmation. Oh my gosh, bottom of the deck, the Hierophant. This showed up when I was pulling the cards out for you earlier too. The Hierophant is the mentor. The Hierophant is the card that speaks to tradition. It also speaks to possibly finding a mentor or being a mentor. You're very highly skilled, pile number one. I can tell that about your energy. You are a very skilled individual. You have you could do the jobs of 10 people. It's that you don't want to do that. And I respect that. I don't want to do that either. Nobody should have to do the jobs of 10 people, but like you don't realize how valuable the skills that you have are, and people would pay you for that. But obviously you don't need to do it at the result of self-sabotage or self-sacrifice. But the Hierophant tells me that like you definitely could mentor. People would pay for the information that you have. It's very valuable. And that's what I have about your secret path to success, pile number one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to check out Tarot Stack. If you like any of the decks that we used here today, they will be linked down below. And if you'd like to find me in other places, support me as a creator, of course, I have my Patreon available to you, link down below, my Instagram. I also have been streaming every day on Twitch for the last almost, I want to say 30 days by the time you see this video. We stream every day at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and we do a gratitude practice together, and then we have a group discussion. It's been really awesome. I would love to have you there if you want to be part of it. And I also have, of course, I have a couple of courses. One of my courses is about to go on a massive discount, basically for, I haven't decided what the occasion is yet, but it is about to be on the biggest discount I've ever given on it. So make sure you're on my email list if you want that. And if I've left anything out, all of my links are down below. I've got a podcast. I'm everywhere online. So check out the description box if you feel like I've missed anything. And I love you so much. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. Hello there, pile number two. If you chose the amethyst, this is going to be your reading. And before we get into it, I do just want to give a quick note on Tarot Stack. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, once again for sponsoring today's video. If you're unaware, Tarot Stack is an online website where you can purchase decks from independent artists. So this one actually, I love this deck. This one actually comes from Bow Life. If you are familiar with her, she is Vanessa Samina here on YouTube. And this is her deck. It's available on Tarot Stack, and it's absolutely gorgeous. This is one of my probably most used tarot decks. You can tell because the cards, I do this, and you'll see when I shuffle how this happens. I do this. The cards do not come like this. They're a little warped on the sides because I bend the crap out of my cards. But the card stock is immaculate. The image quality is immaculate. I love working with Tarot Stack. You've heard me work with them over and over and over again on my channel. Before I ever was sponsored by them, I used to purchase through their website. So I am a believer of Tarot Stack. And I just love knowing that my dollar is going to a good place. It's not just going to a huge conglomerate. It's going to helping a small business and helping independent artists. So definitely check them out. Every deck we use today will be from there. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. So let's go ahead and get into your reading, your secret path to success. We will be using this deck. We're also going to use this Celestial Bodies deck. And with the Celestial Bodies deck, we're just going to pull one card to see kind of where you are right now. So let's see. Oh, bestie. Oh, no. Don't worry. I'm not dooming you. This is literally somewhere that you already are. You got the Saturn return card. Oh my gosh. Okay, bestie. So I need you to know something before we even pull more cards. If you are in your Saturn return right now, it's going to be okay. You just need to hear your big sister from the internet tell you that it's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. You will make it through this. That was something that I had to tell myself during my own Saturn return in, it's a 3-year transit. If you're in your Saturn return, you've already been in it for a year. But the Saturn return is a 3-ish year transit that happens around age 30. It happens again closer to 60. And then again, I want to say somewhere closer to 90. Happens potentially 3 years in your lifetime. But ultimately, the Saturn return is this point where all of the karmic lessons that you have not integrated every 7 years of your life up until that point all kind of come up at once and demand integration and demand your attention. And it's not always fun stuff, bestie. It's usually stuff that takes discipline and perseverance. They're usually major catalysts as well for job change, house change, When I went through mine in 2021 was like the worst of it for me. I went through mine and it was like the best of times and the worst of times simultaneously. Like I made a ton of money during my Saturn return, but I also went through the worst mental health crisis of my entire life. And so it was just a very difficult time, and it taught me, and it will teach you, that the only person you really have is yourself. So not to say that you can't have friends, you can't have partners, you can't have relations with others. You know, we need those. We are a social species, but you learn that it's you and your breath and your body. And that is like the number one thing that you can rely on. And you learn how to become your own best friend. You learn to rely on yourself. And it can be a really rude awakening if that was not something you were ready to do. It expands you in ways that ultimately make you better. And by the time it's over, you're going to be like, damn, I'm so happy I went through that. So I just need you to know, if you are Saturn return age, like, it's hard. It's really hard, but know that it ends. If you're in yours right now, it's a rough time period. And if you're not in yours right now, it may just be that you're just in a really rough time period right now. You are being asked to grow beyond your limits right now. And really, like, Saturn return energy, it is not a comfort zone. It demands that you step out of the comfort zone. So it can feel really hard, but we're going to see what the heck's going on. Where you been, bestie? What's happening? Using this absolutely gorgeous deck. Ooh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. We got the 10 of Swords. I'm going to lay a few cards down and then we'll talk about them. Okay, but 6 of Wands show up, loving that, living for that. I'm kind of getting a vibe from it though. The Empress. Okay. And 3 of Cups. Okay. So what is being challenged for you right now in your path to success? Number one, I do feel that you have, like, this has hurt. This has been painful. And I can see that because the 10 of Swords has shown up. Literally, this girl has 10 knives stuck in her back. Like, this is giving ouchie. I'm not laughing at you. I'm a Gemini moon. Okay. I get the funeral giggles. Gemini moons show up in the comments. 10 of Swords energy though is very, how do I say this? You have to let things go. And it's painful if you don't want to. Letting, a career go, a person go. I actually heard when I pulled this 6 of Wands, pile number 2, it's giving fuckboy energy. I'm just going to say it. I feel like for some of you, there is somebody that you've had to let go that has really hurt you. And they do not have good intentions or good energy for you, but it's been really painful. For some of you, it feels like your whole life is falling apart. Like your love life, your job, your home, your stability, your security. It feels like a complete life reset because this has been just like every sword is a different thing, basically. But the beauty of the 10 of Swords is that after this is over, it's like you go through like a metaphorical baptism. You go through a metaphorical baptism and like the sun rises again and you know that it does and you do make it through this. I'm hearing that some of y'all also might be experiencing a crisis of faith in general. And maybe even being in this reading right now feels like you're questioning it. I don't get that energy all the time in readings, but like I know a lot of skeptics show up to things like this, but I do feel like, especially with a Saturn return in Pisces, which is what we're in tropical astrology right now, a Saturn return in Pisces is the crisis of faith, right? It's feeling like we are faithless or that like spirituality isn't showing up for us like it used to. It's not hitting the same way. The coping mechanisms are not coping. The sweet, sweet copium, it's not coming. And I feel like you've hit some hard times. The 6 of Wands though, if you're like, Kloee, there is no man in my life. Okay. No woman, no man, no person. 6 of Wands also talks about your success being right around the corner, like having success, but almost to the point of like, you have it, but you don't know 100% what to do with it. So I honestly feel we are going to look more with more cards in a second into what your next steps are. But I need you to know, if you're feeling in this 10 of Swords, your guides brought you to this reading to tell you that things are actually about to turn around. Because the Saturn return, most people talk about, like I just did, the bad things that happen, but there are so many blessings. There are Baja blessings, okay? There are Baja blessings. If you don't know about getting Baja blasted at Taco Bell, try getting Baja blessed. Spread the word wide and far. We're doing Baja blessings now. But you are about to be Baja blessed, okay? Six of Wands and the Empress. This is like deep in your self-care era. And you might feel that you're in that right now, respecting your divine feminine energy, deep in your self-care era. Some of you also might be pregnant, and that's very scary for you. Like, it was unexpected. That's definitely a Saturn return thing. That's very specific, obviously, so not for everyone, but I do feel that there's a lot of like self-care and self-tending, and this is a gift. This is a good thing that you are practicing this. You're doing the right thing. And I think you just need a little bit of reassurance. And then Three of Cups, you're about to meet your girl gang, okay? You're about to meet those girly pops. You're about to meet sacred brotherhood. You're about to meet people in your life that are for you. And it's going to reinstill your faith in humanity and in yourself. You're also being told right now not to isolate. Don't isolate. It's really important that you say yes to things, spend time with your friends, okay? Friends and family. But let's go ahead and see on your path to success now. Just more practical advice and kind of like what's next. So I'm going to put all these cards back in these decks because we're going to use them again. Spirit of the highest love and compassion, can you tell us for this hidden path to success, what we're not seeing, what is next? What does the path look like? Give us some practical advice. Oh, okay. Midheaven. Ooh, oh my gosh, you got such strong card pulls, pile number 2. So the midheaven in astrology, if you are unaware, the midheaven is the point in your birth chart. It's like the highest part of your chart. It's where it's where your success lies. It's where you like find success. It's also like your highest achievement in this lifetime. So it's also how people see you, like not like the rising sign. That's like really how people who know you see you. And it also can be like first impressions, but the midheaven is like your achievement, your career, your long-term goals. It's what you hope to achieve in this lifetime. So having your midheaven, this tells me that your path to success is big. It is big. It is grand. You're really focused on your achievement and your advancement right now. And during a Saturn return, you often do come out having achieved some things. That's very common for a Saturn return. Saturn actually helps you do it. So through like discipline and concentrated effort, of course, but Saturn will help you do it. So let's go ahead and see. Sorry if this is loud, by the way. I don't know if y'all love the shuffling or hate it. One more. Okay. Six of Pentacles. I love that energy. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to pull a few cards like before, and then we'll talk the Sun. Okay. Okay. Eight of Wands. Oh my gosh. Your path is about to open up so big. Two of Wands. You're not even ready, bestie. Oh my God. You're kidding. Bottom of the deck, the Chariot. I'm flabbergasted. This is stupendous. This is tremendous. Okay. Things are really about to pick up the pace for you. I can see that with all of these cards are positive. So the Six of Pentacles, literally you had to get rid of people so that you could start having an equal exchange of energy. So we don't, in relationships with others, in work, in business, in goals, whatever may have you, We want the energy to be equal. We want an equal exchange of energy going on because it suits us the best. You don't want to be giving, and people just take, right? That's not equal. We don't want that. You want to be able to give and take in an equal exchange of energy, whether that's financial, giving your love, giving your friendship, no matter what it looks like. We have to be able to give and take in an equal, that's like the optimal. So what I'm seeing here for you on your path to success, the practical advice, you have to stop overgiving. And something that I actually just had a huge epiphany on pile number 2 that I think maybe you need to hear is you need to remind yourself that whatever you give, you are your energy. Like, repeat this to yourself. My energy is the gift that keeps on giving. My energy is the gift that keeps on giving. Just the fact that you exist, that you bless the lives of the people that are around you, literally your energy, your existence, your magnetism, being in the room blesses people, blesses their lives. And you need to start acting like it. We have the sun. I know that this one's going to be a reach and a little bit of a hard one for some of y'all. I can feel the resistance already before I've said it. When I see the sun in a position like this with what we're reading about, you need to connect with what brings you joy. The sun is the most joyous card in the tarot. It is about joy and sunshine and sun on your skin and creativity and positivity. And it is such a happy card. And if something is depleting you of your energy, whether it's a place, a person, a thing, you need to put it to rest. Because Saturn is not going to fuck around with that. You need to put it down and decide to replace it with something that actually brings you joy. Then we have the 8 of Wands, which tells me your path to success is littered with, in the good way. So I guess I shouldn't say littered, glittered, let's say. Not littered, glittered. Your path to success is glittered. I don't know why I said it like that. Why am I like this? It's glittered with opportunity. The 8 of Wands is opportunity, and they come in quick with the 8 of Wands. It's fast, rapid, forward momentum, getting exactly what you set intention for. So the 8 of Wands, this is a positive force of basically the advice, the practical advice with the 8 of Wands is, oh my gosh, I literally just found a seed on my shirt. This tiny little sesame seed. Seeds spiritually mean growth. They mean planting an intention and watering it until it grows. So you need to be setting forth the right seeds so that the right intentions come in, because the 2 of Wands, this is all about dreaming your reality into being, taking a moment, stopping and asking what your ideal next chapter of your life should look like. What do you want it to look like? And know without a shadow of a doubt, as you continue to water that version of yourself that's coming in, it's coming regardless. 8 of Wands says it is coming in. And the Chariot says, don't be surprised if it's big, if you end up having to move. If you're nope, I'm content where I am, I don't want to move. I don't see that there's a catastrophic move coming for you. There would have been more fuss around this. The Chariot has more to do with being in alignment with your destiny, being in alignment with where you're headed next, being in alignment with your destiny, your calling, your true north, your midheaven, which we already discussed a little bit. This is good, right? This is being in that full embodied alignment and feeling good. We can manifest every day of the week if we want to. I mean, I believe personally that we don't turn manifestation off with our thoughts, our words, our actions every day. We are manifesting our reality. We're calling it in. And this is why when you make shifts in your reality, you start to see different. But with the Chariot, I say, don't be surprised if you see shifts happen really quickly. But that is the reading that I have for you. Thank you so much, pile number 2, for tuning in. Thank you, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Links for all the decks down below. And if you'd like to follow me more around the web, support me, please check out my Patreon, where you can find masterclasses, extra pick-a-cards. I also have a mentorship series where you can ask questions and I answer them in video format about like YouTube creation, tarot reading, literally anything. There are no off-limits questions. That's been really fun. And I would love to have you there, right? There's new content every single month. It supports me as a creator. I'm also streaming on Twitch every single day. We are 30 days into streaming. I stream every day at 2 p.m. Pacific, and I would love to have you there. We do a gratitude practice. We talk about spirituality live. We also do like a group discussion every day now. It's been so good for my mental health too. And a lot of you have really loved it. So I'm going to keep doing it for the time being. So make sure you check it out. And is there any, of course, like my Instagram, my podcast. I also have a couple courses that I made. One of my courses is about to have a huge sale as well, like the biggest sale I've ever done on it. So definitely make sure that you sign up for my email list. If you haven't, you get that on my website, KhloeTaylor.com. And that is what I have for you, pile number 2. I love you so much. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Hello there, pile number 3. If you chose the Sunstone, this is going to be your reading. And before we get into it, I do just want to give a brief word on our sponsor today. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack. If you don't know what Tarot Stack is an online website that I love working with, because they get basically decks from independent artists, and they're like the middle person. Okay. They get decks from independent artists into your hands. They distribute them out. So if you would like to get any of the decks that we use today, they are all coming from Tarot Stack. And this one, I'm excited for your pile, because your pile has one of my I used a lot of my favorite decks today, but this one has a special place in my heart. Okay. This deck helped me manifest the house that I live in today. And you're going to see why it's so special in your reading. When we look at the art, you're going to be like, dang, I'm blown away. But their decks are immaculate quality, immaculate, like best decks, never, always a banger, never a bad one in the bunch. Before they ever sponsored me, Tarot Stack, I was ordering from them on my own. So I am a huge fan, and it's such an honor to get to work with them. And I hope you'll give their decks a check out, because they have everything. They have really inclusive decks, really I feel like sometimes a lot of funky decks that I've never seen anywhere else, with really interesting art, but also divine feminine, oracle decks, pink decks. Those are just some of the headlines. If you search for them, you can find them on their website. But truly some of the best decks that I have ever owned. Even when I'm not doing a sponsored video, if you've been on my channel for a long time, you know that I use their stuff all the time, because they're so good. But let's go ahead and get into your reading. And actually, we're going to use this deck too, of course, but I want to use first the Celestial Bodies deck, just to see kind of where you are right now, what's going on with your path right now. And then we'll look at practical advice on the secret path, the hidden path, what's been kind of hidden from you. Oh, you got the Cancer card. So Cancer, or some people also call Cancer the moon child, because of the negative connotation with the word Cancer. But you got the Cancer card. So where you are right now, you are deep in your emotions. You are deep in your feelings. You might be doing a lot of emotional uncovering, emotional labor, emotional healing. Cancer is also the sign that talks about the home and family. So that's definitely a major theme for you right now. But let's go ahead and see what is coming up. Four of Wands. Okay. Actually, let me lay some cards down and then I'll show them to you close up and we'll talk about them. Seven of Cups, King of Cups, the Magician. Okay. So first, I feel like before I even show these to you closer, I need you to I told pile number one this as well. I am not Willy Wonka. If you're looking for a sugar-coated reading, you are on the wrong channel. Okay. I'm a Virgo midheaven. I'm a Taurus with a Virgo midheaven. I am here to give you the blunt medicine that you're not listening to. So that being said, if that's not what you're here for, this might not be the place for you today. But what I'm seeing overall with just these 4 cards right away is that you keep starting over. And on your path to success, you have to work on your inner critic. You are so critical of who you are, what you're doing, what your intention is, where you're going next, and you hurt your own feelings over and over and over again. And you also really favor the opinions of your family, which not always a bad thing. I think sometimes our family can know some shit about us. But with the 4 of Wands, normally this card is like celebration. And I feel like it doesn't feel very celebratory. It feels like you really take their opinions have shaped you so hard, which this is normal. It happens to all of us, literally. But their opinions have shaped you so hard, you haven't really stepped fully out of that box yet. And Spirit is saying on your path right now, you need to work on adapting your emotional maturity. And your guides understand that this is not something that was maybe given to you. This is something you already could have worked on and you could be currently working on, as your main card is the card of Cancer, which is that emotions, right? Working through the emotions. But I feel like there's I don't know how else to explain this other than there's a lot of chaotic energy under the surface. You're not you're pulling at too many strings. It's almost like you're overdoing it and you're not getting anywhere. And you keep starting over because you think it has to be right. It has to be correct. Honestly, are you a Virgo? It's giving Virgo right now. It's giving, I have to be methodical. I have to be correct. If I can't show up this way, I don't want it at all. It's giving all or nothing mentality. It's giving black and white thinking. And I feel like right now, what is stifling you so hard is that your inner critic isn't even you. It's the voice of a family member that you let live in your head rent free. And you need to learn how to love this version of yourself, this inner critic. And if I could just tell you something, I feel really called to talk about this a little bit. I'm a big fan of parts work or internal family systems therapy. Now, please remember my readings are not meant to be used in place of therapeutic practices or seeking therapeutic help or mental health professionals. So please do not use my readings like that. This is just one person's experience, sharing it with you. But I really love internal family systems therapy because it allows you to learn to really self-soothe and love all of the parts of yourself that live inside of you. And while doing parts work or IFS before, I feel like they're kind of interchangeable. They're very similar modalities. IFS stands for the internal family systems, and parts work, they're very similar in nature. I feel like life coaches call it parts work so that they can kind of get around it's like a loophole, if you will, so that there isn't legal repercussion there. But ultimately, you can meet parts of yourself. And I feel like you need to meet this inner critic that you've been holding on to. In my own experience, my own inner critic looks and acts and talks like my mother, if my mother had actually been the perfect person that she portrays herself to be, or my inner critic sounds like what I imagine my mother's inner critic sounds like, knowing her. And she even dresses like a 1950s housewife. Everything is perfect and put together and it's very appearance focused. And through parts work, you don't banish parts of yourself. I mean, sometimes you do and it's a learning lesson later, but in my experience anyway, I have banished that part of myself before, and it wreaked havoc on my life until she came back around. And if I'm not saying anything that makes sense to you right now, I would encourage you to look into this healing modality. But ultimately, what I came to find was that this part of myself, even though it's my inner critic, and I have to remember that, it is a part of me that also keeps myself safe to some degree. And so I feel like you are giving yourself a lot of self-criticism, self-judgment, when that inner critic does serve a purpose of keeping you safe, but it also is keeping you very small. And you're playing small when you need to be playing big. So that's like, let me show these to you. Okay, so you got the Four of Wands. I don't know why my camera is being sassy. There we go. Four of Wands. You got the Seven of Cups. Please know that these cards are way more beautiful in person. They're difficult to show on camera because of the foiling, but they're like very vivid in person. You don't struggle to see them at all. No matter where the light is hitting in person, like from my angle, I can see it from every angle. Seven of Cups, King of Cups, and the Magician. So that's ultimately what I'm seeing right now for your path. I can tell that you're frustrated. Like, this is not fun for you. So now we're going to get into, I know I kind of gave you some practical advice there, but let's get into what your guides have to say as well about this, about where you are, about how you are constantly starting over, judging yourself really harshly. Let's see what the hidden path is. Kloee. We're going to have to look at the book for that one because I'm not familiar with that term. I am an astrologer, but that is one that I don't necessarily teach that one. So I'm going to pull the book out of the deck really quick and just see what Spirit's trying to tell us. Spirit, what are you trying to tell us right now with that card? It's probably in the other book. Yeah. Oh, I saw it. The Kloee, in reflection of the fourth house. Oh my gosh, it brought up the fourth house, which is the house of Cancer, which you had the Cancer card. We have many of the same. Oh, okay. So the medium Kloee, which is like the 10th house, the midheaven, the Kloee, I suppose, is like the direct down. It's the fourth house. It's your roots. It's where you've come from. That makes sense to me, but let's keep reading. A woman on a precipice of a leaf tucked deeply into herself. This is the inner world, and though she has welcomed a glimpse, this will remain her solo safe space. About the angle, the northernmost angle of the chart. Oh, maybe not. I lied. I'm wrong. Angle of the chart, the Kloee sits opposite. Oh no, I was right. The 180 degrees of the midheaven and marks the cusp of the fourth house. Our Kloee talks to us about our home life, echoes of childhood, connections to family matters, the kinds of homes we seek to create away from the public eye. Opposing the midheaven, the Kloee, it's hard. It's like IMUM, negates the need for publicity and visibility of that angle, and instead turns our focus inwards, what lies hidden from view: home, family, ancestry, and root. So your path to success right now, you are meant to continue sussing through the emotions. Okay. The fourth house is the house of Cancer. The Kloee is always in the fourth house for the most part. And let's keep looking. Let's see. So I think you're actually already on the path. Maybe you're like, this doesn't feel successful. It feels hard, which happens sometimes. Sometimes the path to success, nobody said it was going to be littered with treasure and gold and flowers. Nobody said it was supposed to be easy, but let's see. Spirit of the highest love and compassion. For pile 3, what is the secret hidden path to their success right now? Knowing this thing about ancestry, the past, where they've come from. Okay, we have Flower of Life. I'm going to leave this one out as an extra card because it's one of the cards that's only for this deck. So the Empress, okay. Love the Empress. The Empress is fantastic energy. Ace of Cups. You need to do more self-care, bestie. That's really what I'm hearing. Seven of Stars. Why is my... Stop it. There we go. Seven of Stars. And the Knight of Crystals. Oh, come on. Focus on me. Focus on me. I feel like I'm having a hard time catching the light with this one, but you get the point. Okay. So the Flower of Life, this card is specific to this deck, which is all about how we are interconnected with everyone and everything around us. It's really like kind of taking like a soul introspection. So I do feel like you are definitely on a spiritual journey right now. Your journey right now is very spiritual. You might even be questioning old spiritual beliefs or modalities. That is just like part of your path right now, and you need to accept that it's where you are. But also with the Empress and the Ace of Cups coming out, the Empress is all about your self-care. It also can talk about pregnancy sometimes, expanding your family. But your path to success is going to be deeply rooted in how you care for yourself and getting into your receptive mode. Channeling divine feminine energy instead of working from your masculine. Let me know in the comments down below, pile number 3, if this is something that you would want like a workbook guide on or a masterclass or something, because I feel like getting into your receptive divine feminine energy, there's something to it, because most of today's world, actually all of today's world, I would argue, we all are centered around a masculine world, in the sense that even the 24-hour clock is a masculine concept. It's this like everybody has the same energy when they get up every day, when divine feminine, that's that 28-day clock, right? When we talk, I think this reading in particular is for cis women, is like the energy I'm channeling for. So just keep that in mind. I would say if that's not you and that doesn't apply to you, make sure you check out a different pile, because some of the topics I'm going to talk about are part of that. Or maybe just somebody that has a menstrual cycle. Let's put it that way. But you know, and please know everybody has masculine and feminine energy. This doesn't have to be this, but I'm feeling called from spirit right now to talk about the menstrual cycle a little bit. So if you do not have one of those, or if you've never had one of those, or if like you do not have the reproductive parts to facilitate something like that, whether you have one or not, because some of you maybe have been through menopause, some of you maybe have conditions that kind of keep that from happening in a routine way. Always want to make room for all my besties. Okay. But just know that I'm going to touch a little on that menstrual cycle. So if that's not you, this probably isn't your reading. So when I see this though, Spirit is saying that we need to root more into that feminine essence, right? So the feminine essence, and also into your cyclical nature. So cyclical nature, like I was getting at, when we talk about the menstrual cycle, it's a 28-day cycle versus the everyday 24-hour clock. So every week, you know, some of us might, I want to say like an average, quote unquote, is 28 to like 30 days long for a menstrual cycle. But ultimately, some of us don't have that, right? Some of us have polycystic ovarian syndrome or endometriosis that kind of keep that from happening on that cycle. But the reason I'm bringing it up is that every week, your menstrual cycle isn't just something that happens 1 week out of the month, or, you know, whenever it happens for you. It's not just 1 week out of every month. It's the entire 28 days. It's 1 week we're going through a phase. The next week we're going through a phase. The next week we're going through a phase. You literally have inner seasons hormonally that churn over every single week. And we live in a world that is not designed to cater to that. And so as you are able, I would encourage you to look more into this. Or like I said, leave me a comment below if you're like, Kloee, I want to learn it from you. I feel like I have felt called to make something on this for a long time. The only reason I don't is I do feel like sometimes I get really in my head about creating it because I have a hard time when it comes to leaving people out. And I don't like to make anybody feel left out. But in this instance, I do feel like it would be information that would be geared toward a specific set of people. So maybe give me some encouragement down below to think about that. But what Spirit is asking me to talk about with you is like, how can you start to fill your own well? How can you start to think about like even doing ancestral work, your matriarchal line in your family? You might be the healer for that line. And it's something that will give you the path to success. And like you've been trying to brute force it, and brute forcing it is never going to get you there. It is when you stop and you allow yourself to receive and you work to heal any blocks that are keeping you from getting into that receptive mode, from working with your natural cycles. You work on those blocks and you will literally set your path free. And the 7 of Stars, it's literally saying you need to water yourself, water what waters you, but also giving more to yourself, watering the things that you know are good for you. And you're going to see how fast this path will open for you, because Knight of Crystals, this motherfucker is charging forth. There is no slow energy about this. It's very fast. So you're going to see how much faster you're able to channel information. You're going to see downloads popping out of nowhere. Epiphany is happening, coming in through your third eye. And I'm getting the chills talking about this. But ultimately, this is where you are meant to be going right now. This is the path that you are meant to be on right now. And it's funny to me that even the crystal you chose, it's a sunstone. The sunstone is a very masculine stone, right? When we talk about the sun and the moon, even in astrology, they resemble masculine, feminine, right? It's giving masculine, feminine. And I feel like this is something that you may even feel called to just work towards balancing more in your life. And ultimately, it's going to be about tending to yourself, caring for yourself, and self-care is not just like a face mask and Netflix. It can be, but self-care is to me, ultimate self-care is being so comfortable with yourself that you can turn all the screens and all the noise off. You can sit with yourself and you feel good. That is like the ultimate self-care. And so to me, the real act of self-love and self-care is, again, reducing anything that keeps you from doing that and from having that. It doesn't mean you need to be this like glorified monk on a mountaintop, not thinking or speaking to anyone or having a thought in your mind. That's not what I'm saying. It's that when you connect with the breath, when you connect with yourself, when you can let yourself slow down and feel okay and safe doing it, that's how you know you're on the right track. And sometimes you also have to show up for the practice. Like you have to show up anxious. You have to show up afraid and do it anyways. You have to kind of put yourself in the face of fear in order to get there. But ultimately, you need to be replenishing your own cup and watering what waters you and not really paying attention to the rest. And Knight of Crystals says that like the path will open up so quickly. If you start calling and pulling that energy in, you will notice an immediate shift. And that is the reading I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring our video today. And if you liked the decks that I showed you today, please make sure to check them out on tarotstack.com. And if you want to support me anywhere around the web, please join my Patreon, patreon.com/Kloee Taylor. I put out extra pick a cards that you can't get anywhere else. I put out mentoring videos. Sometimes I'll post vlogs. I started filming one this week, so there should be a vlog out over there soon. And basically, like anything that doesn't come here goes there. I also have a couple of courses. If you want a workbook or a masterclass or something on what I was talking about with you here, like I said, give me some encouragement down below. And what else? I've got my Instagram, my podcast, all that good stuff. Join my mailing list, KhloeTaylor.com, especially for like discounts and stuff on things. If you like, I have one of my courses is about to go on like a super sale. And if you want that sale, make sure that you are a part of my mailing list so you can get it. And that is what I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you so much. I love you. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye.